Hi, and welcome to another edition of the Advisicon webinar series. Thanks for joining us for this introduction to the Microsoft AI Builder. If you're new to AI and you've been looking for a great starting point or a way to get your feet wet, this is a great place to begin your journey. Today's presentation is brought to you by Advisicon, a business transformation and work management consultancy where we help you with tools and training to maximize your impact, productivity, and purpose. I'm David Hogan, Advisicon's Vice President of Strategy and Business Solutions. I'm looking forward to this brief tour and hope you'll find this information useful in your AI journey. To begin with, our agenda for today is to cover what is AI Builder, what can you do with AI Builder, and how to get started using it. And of course, we'll also include a quick demonstration to help you get started. Our objective is to equip you with enough information to help you begin your own exploration of Microsoft AI Builder. So what is AI Builder? Well, first, I think it might be helpful to address the question, what is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence is a collection of computer systems that can perform tasks that have typically required human intervention. They're designed to learn from data and recognize patterns and make decisions or predictions based on the information that we give them, what we call training. In simple terms, artificial intelligence allows computers to do things that seem smart, like understanding speech, recognizing images, or even playing games. So here are some examples of artificial intelligence. Things like virtual assistants, Siri and Alexa and alike. Things that take natural language commands from us and convert them into instructions for computer software programs. Things like fraud detection that have algorithms that help us detect when something nefarious might be happening with our bank or with our company. Another form of AI is image recognition. Things like reading medical images and helping us with diagnosis, or scanning faces for security systems. Predictive analytics, using historical data to analyze what has happened in the past to be able to forecast what is happening in the future, for example, with weather. And then, of course, natural language processing, enabling computers to understand and interpret what we say. And finally, natural language processing, enabling computers to understand, interpret, and generate human language. It powers features like autocomplete in search engines, sentiment analysis, for example, in customer reviews, and even language and translation services. So now down to what AI Builder is among artificial intelligence components. First of all, it is part of the Microsoft Power Platform. If you have Microsoft 365, you're likely already familiar with the Power Platform. It was designed with a group of applications as a no-code, low-code platform that allows everyday individuals to develop solutions to their business challenges without the need for developing pro applications or providing pro-level coding. This platform includes things such as Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, and so on. As an underpinning of the Microsoft Power Platform, there are some additional tools which include data connectors and, of course, AI Builder and the Dataverse. Azure Cognitive Services is a collection of artificial intelligence tools, and the AI Builder is a subset of that. The target user for AI Builder are business users, citizen developers, people like you and me. The benefit, of course, is that it allows us to incorporate AI into Power Apps and Power Automate and even Dynamics 365 using a point-and-click experience so that no programming coding is required. It does include several different types of models, or AI models, as we call them, pre-built AI models, custom models, and customizable pre-built models. And we'll talk about what the difference is between those in just a few moments. So what can AI Builder do for you? Of course, that's everybody's question. Well, there's this great tool that you'll find out on the web called the No-Code AI Cheat Sheet by AI Builder. It helps us to separate the models or AI models into different groups, including processed documents, processing images, processing text, and acting on tabular data. You'll notice that it describes many different types of models in these categories, such as extracting information from receipts or processing different types of forms. You'll also know that these boxes come in different flavors of colors. Referring to the legend down here at the bottom, it talks about blue being a pre-built model, and then you have a custom model and pre-built customizable model. What does that actually mean? Well, most of the times when we want people to be able to do things, we train them. We let them watch somebody else doing the work that we want them to do. We let them observe how it's done until they become trained at it. And AI is much the same. A pre-built model is one that has already been trained. For example, if we have a receipt processing model like you see right up here in the upper left corner, it says it extracts information from receipts. Well, that model has already been trained with many, many different examples of different types of receipts, so no training required. But you'll notice in this section here where it talks about document processing, extracting information from structured and unstructured documents, you might need to be able to take examples of the types of documents you want it to process and show it to the model over and over again until it gets enough of a sampling so that it knows how to do it confidently. So again, custom models are models that need to be trained. So here's just a few possible things that you might choose to do with AI Builder. Things such as document processing. You can scan in paper documents, and you could, of course, send it PDFs or invoices, purchase orders, business cards, and things such as that. It can extract the data from them and then pass that on to be entered into another system. And as I mentioned before, AI Builder uses Power Automate and Power Apps. So you would be able to, for example, put data entry into Power Apps and use a Power Automate to automate the AI and transmit information to other systems. Another example of something you can do with AI Builder is something like a building check-in system. My wife works at a school where people are required to present their ID, and then somebody has to take their ID and write that information into a log before they're allowed to enter the school. Well, of course, with an AI, they could scan their ID into a photograph. It could read the information from their ID and automatically enter that data into a log. That would be awesome. Image processing, things like reading labels on products or boxes and then being able to enter the data automatically into an inventory system. Or collecting data from street signs. You could snap pictures as you're going down the street of information that you need and actually have it enter information into a log for you. Things like language processing, being able to look at a document, detect what language it is, and then be able to automatically translate that document. All examples of things that you can already do today with Microsoft AI Builder. So let's talk for a few minutes about how you might get started with using AI Builder. One great resource is Microsoft Learn. You can search that out on the internet. It does include step-by-step instructions to help you get started with AI Builder and to learn about its many features. As I mentioned before, it does utilize Power BI, Power Automate, or Dynamics 365. So in order to use it, you will need to have a license for one of these applications. AI Builder is an add-on license to the apps that I just mentioned to you. So it does require that you pay for an additional license to use it. But there is a 30-day trial license available, and instructions on how to obtain that are listed at Microsoft Learn and a variety of locations on the web. Finally, one of the first things that you'll do when you access AI Builder is explore the different types of AI models. Again, pre-built, custom, and customizable models. So let's go ahead. We're going to jump now into looking at how to utilize this in just a quick demonstration. As I mentioned before, you can use AI Builder with Power Apps, Power BI, and Dynamics 365. And so today I'm going to demonstrate how to use it with Power Apps. The first thing you'll do when logging into Power Apps is you'll identify this link here, the AI Hub, and it will give you several different options and make them available to you. The first thing I want to do is explore the different types of AI models. And across this filter band across the top, I'm just simply going to collect all to begin with. And you'll notice that it describes many different types of models and it identifies which ones are custom models and which are pre-built models. There are some of these that are both pre-built and custom, and I'll show you an example of that here in just a few moments. First of all, I mentioned the example of having a login system for a school or for a building where you might want to scan people's identification and be able to log in that they came into the building at what time and who they were. So I might want to utilize this extract information from identity documents AI model. As I click on it, all of the AI models have a similar introductory interface like this. You'll notice that it tells me over here at the upper right that it is a pre-built model. And then it gives me an example of different types of documents that it is able to scan. And on the right here, it shows me what is being extracted from those different types of documentation. And here we have a driver's license, a passport, and there are other pre-built models that already work with this. You can also click on this button here, Upload New, and scan a certain type of identification and see what it would extract from that identification. The cool thing about these is I can also click on this Use Pre-Built Model button, and it will ask me, do I want to create a flow or an app? And it will actually automatically build the Power App or the Power Automate flow to utilize this particular model. It is simply outstanding. Another example, I might want to go here into these filtered sections, and I'll use documents, and I'll say I want to look at this extracting information from receipts model. You'll notice as I do, it gives me several different examples of receipts where people have simply taken a picture of them, and then it tells me what data is extracted from the receipts. This is such a hassle for so many people to have to stack up their receipts and then be able to enter all the information into an expense system of some kind. And you'll notice here, I can simply create a simple Power App and take pictures and have it process the information as you see it's done here. Really, really a great time saver. Another example, let's go ahead and look at different image detection here. I can go ahead and say, I want to extract all the information from a particular picture. And so I clicked on here and I see an image of a label on a certain product. And you'll notice over here to the right, all the data that is extracted. Again, I could use a Power Automate to enter this information into a database of some kind if I needed to. Here's an example of taking a picture of a shipping container. And it would be able, of course, to take pictures and identify all the numbers and elements of that shipping container, and then again, automatically enter that into a log instead of going through taking pictures and then hand typing them in or even entering them in the field. A great time saver. There are other things here, for example, detecting custom object images. This is an example of a custom AI model that has to be trained. And for example, this model has been trained to identify certain tee boxes. And so it could take pictures of different ones. It could take an inventory telling you how many are in the picture, things such as that. Let's say for a moment I had a camera over my company's parking lot, and at different times of day, it snapped a picture. It could tell me how many vehicles are in the parking lot, and I can actually custom train it to know what my trucks look like. So I could tell you how many of the vehicles in the parking lot were our company trucks and how many were just simply cars that were there. Or it could count how many people. You can have objects be counted and tell you how many people are in a certain area at a certain time based on an image. And another cool idea. So let's go ahead and do a quick demonstration of how you might utilize one of these. Again, an example, if I were to use one of these pre-built models, just a reminder that I can then go ahead and click down here and say use pre-built model, and I can tell it I want to build a flow or an application. And so I'm about to show you some applications that were automatically built using that particular wizard. First, let's start with the model that had to do with identifying or detecting language and then translating that language. This is an example of that model. You can choose which language you want to translate into, and it will identify a language code. And each language has a 2-digit code. Okay, now let's take a look at this text identification and translation application that was automatically built for me by the AI builder. So here you'll notice it has the input text that you're going to analyze. I tell it what language I want to translate to. It tells me what language was the originating language, the confidence level of its translation, and the actual translation. Well, of course, there's no translation in this particular example. But now I'm going to take and enter some text that I don't automatically know how to read. And again, I'm going to translate to English. I click Translate Text. It tells me the language code is ES, which is Spanish. It's 100% confident in the translation. And the translation is, Mary had a little lamb that grew up to a sheep, then got hooked on video games and died from lack of sleep. So again, I could build an application where information gets pasted in from an email or some other source. It can run it through the translation, and then a Power Automate could write the translated text to a field or some other repository as I needed it. Okay, now let's take a look at another Power App that was automatically built for me using the sentiment analysis model. So here we take a look at the definition or description, of the sentiment analysis model. It tells us that it detects positive, negative, and neutral sentiment by utilizing natural language analysis. Again, it will allow you to test it by just entering an example here, and it will show you how it analyzed that, and again, a confidence rating. And of course, what I did is I just clicked here again, and I told it to build the app for me. The nice thing about this is you can continue to test these different models in these sample windows before you ever start trying to use them. So here we go. I'm going to put in a not so wonderful review first and see how it handles that. The movie was horrible, the theater staff was rude, and the popcorn was burnt. I analyzed that. It says it's 99% sure that is a negative review. Let's try something else. See it a different review, just your run-of-the-mill average neighborhood spot. I analyze that. It says it's 98% sure that is a neutral comment. And then finally, put something a little more glowing in there. Would totally recommend this place to anyone hosting an important event. Great service. I analyze that. It is 99% sure that that is a positive response. The idea here is that you can integrate these models into your Power Apps as well as your Power Automate flows. And these are just an example of things that might spark your imagination. For example, in this case, if I had a negative review, and I might have a Power Automate that says, well, if the sentiment was negative, then send an email to a certain team or a certain group, letting them know that there is a concern expressed by a client, whether that's an internal client or whatever the case may be, but so that they can take action to respond to the person's concern. So here's a final thought. I want to just thank you so much for joining us today. We invite you to reach out to our team to find out how we can help you and your organization with your current projects and future projects. And I look forward to seeing you again on a future webinar. Have a great day.